Welcome, Dr. Viswanathan. You've worn several hats over the last few decades, and at this stage, you're still very hands on about what goes on in VIT. So, what is your routine like? When do you wake up? When do you start your day? Can you take us through a day in your life?
See, I was born in a remote village, in an agricultural family. So still I am used to the village life. By 5:36 I get up in the morning, then starts the work. And throughout the day I work. And I have no working hours and I have no holidays. I work all the days. Normally they say 8 hours work, 8 hours rest, and 8 hours sleep. I merge sleep and rest together so that I get 16 hours. So normally I work for 12 to 13 hours, sometimes up to 15 hours. It doesn't affect me anyway. In fact, when you go for a government job, then you have restrictions and fixed hours if you go for an office, etc. I feel that in order to become an advanced country, we cannot be working like Westerners. We must work hard so that we will be able to compete with them and, if possible, overtake them. If we are going to work like Americans or Germans, then how will you fill up the gap? It will always remain. Our per capita income is $2,600. US per capita income is $80,000. We have to work hard and see that we also come up. That will be possible if all able-bodied persons work hard.
What were the challenges you had when you started VIT, a world-class institute, in a very small town like Vellore? What were the challenges you faced?
See, the main challenge was finance. Because to begin with, I was struggling for paying salary, etc. But slowly we were able to make up, and now it's not a problem. Even now, we want to spend more on research, which is not possible. To some extent, we are able to do it because we want some government help, state government or central government, UGC, etc. At least for research, they must help us because we require funding for research. The stipend has to be paid and they have to spend a lot of money on consumables in the labs, etc. There, at least in research, the government should help because there are a number of countries, around 25 countries, where higher education is also free. But in our country, it is not so. Only if you go to government school or college, it is free. If you send your children to private school or private college, we don't get any government help. In fact, I find in Vellore campus, we have 40,000 students, 36,000 in bachelor's and master's, and 4,000 research students. Out of them, 800 students only get some government help. Both center and state put together, only 800 students are getting financial help. All others are on their own. Only the parents help them. In our country, higher education depends only on parents. They don't depend upon government. That should change. Then the government should spend more money on education, both the union government as well as state governments. That has been recommended for a long time. Dr. Radhakrishnan Commission, which is about 60 years old, at that time itself they recommended 6% of the GDP should be spent on education. In the new education policy 2020, same recommendation has been made. 6% of the GDP should be spent on education. We haven't crossed 3% so far. There are 140 countries in the world who are spending more than us on education. It is time now that we realize, the governments realize this and spend more on education, particularly girls' education.
How did you manage to attract talent from across India's metros and to bring them, professors, staff, teachers, to Vellore?
No, we don't do anything special. As a college, our first batch passed out in 88. 84 was the first batch with 180 students, three branches, civil, mechanical, and electronics. At the time, we were affiliated to the University of Madras. University of Madras used to give, like Olympics, 3 medals for each subject, gold, silver, and bronze. So we had, out of these 9 medals, the first batch of students secured 8, our college. So suddenly this college became famous. I can never forget my first batch students because they brought all the name to us, and then started students from other state coming and joining. Till the time only our neighboring Chittor district and others were joining, not outside as much. Only Andhra Pradesh students were there. Then started people from northern states, western states, etc. Now we have students from all the states and union territories of India and also from 67 countries of the world. That's because they think that we offer quality education, and also we are able to give them placement. We are offer placement. That's an important thing. We concentrate on that because parents can spend money, but it's very difficult for them to get a job for the boy or girl. There we are trying to help the families.
How do you retain this talent, sir? Like, I believe during COVID, you were paying full salaries to your staff.
So the difficult thing in running a good institution is teachers. If you are able to get good teachers, then 90% of the problem is solved. Very difficult to get, but we are trying to do it because throughout the year we go on recruiting. At least twice a year we recruit. We pay them well and treat them well. That's why we are able to retain them. And people from all parts, all India, particularly from north to south and east to west, we have teachers from all the states except the northeast. 2-3 states are not there. Otherwise, we have teachers from all the states. We retain them. We try to give them accommodation also because many of them are from outside. And also we help them in finding schools for their children. These are the things, small things we do. And they are happy they work with us.
In the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned that you are still the village person who wakes up at 5 in the morning. So what other qualities from those that you've imbibed from your childhood or from your days in the village has helped you where you are now, sir?
See, as a boy from a village, in fact, I was the first to enter college in my surrounding areas, about 30, 40 villages. There was nobody who has gone to college at that time. I passed out my SSLC in 1955. In fact, I had to locate somebody to find out what should I study, because that was the situation at that time. I had a burning desire in me that I should be able to compete with the people from cities and towns. So I was, fortunately, I was given a seat in Loyola College for my bachelor's and master's. In fact, I was struggling for my English language because I studied in the Tamil medium. And after reaching Loyola College, I became an English orator. I represented Loyola College in the inter-college debates, both in Tamil and English. Probably I was the only one at the time. That's because of my teachers, my professors and reverend fathers. They made me what I am today. I always worship my teachers because next to parents is the teachers are responsible for the growth of any individual, and I always respect them. I always feel that only education can help a family to come up, a society, family, or a country to come up. And I would very much like all our children to take to good education, and parents also send them whatever they want or whatever they get, so that all of them should be. At present, only 10% of Indians are graduates. And our gross enrollment ratio is only 27%. We are very much lagging behind. We have to move up further. And that's where I want to help the society. Now we are doing it at the local level, district level. We have formed a trust called Universal Higher Education Trust. In Tamil, we say, Anaivarukkum Uyarkalvi Arakattalai. There, we don't want anybody to stop with 10 or 12. We ask them to go for higher studies. If they are unable to pay for it, we give scholarship. And so far, in the last 10 years, we have given 8,000 scholarship, and 2/3 are girls. The beneficiaries, 2/3 are girls. I hope we will become a model to the rest of the country. Out of 800 districts, this is the only district where they get financial help without government money.
And what is it that keeps you going, sir? Is it a big picture dream that you've always had? Or do you have small, short-term goals, and from there you make them long-term goals? Is it always a big picture dream that this is what I want to do for the society, this is what I want to contribute? Or has it been step by step? Has it been short-term goals?
See, I completed my law in 1963. Then I started my practice. And I was running this institute without studying management. I studied history, economics, political science, and law. So I thought I should have some knowledge of management, and joined Harvard Business School 40 years after leaving the college. Then I thought it's very difficult to be a student. Because sitting in the class for 1.5 hours, it is a 1.5 hour class there. Then I found that it was very useful to me. There were 130 students who were along with me from 35 countries. It was very useful. And I feel that all those who manage institutions must have some management background. They must have gone through management studies that will be very useful for the college or university. That's what I went through. I studied only for 3 months in Harvard Business School in 2003.
A very good evening, sir. I would like to ask you, there are many people remaining without jobs in spite of having their degrees, and how can we make them employable? What are the reasons they are remaining jobless in spite of having their degrees?
See, we know what is required by companies, and we should try to involve the companies also in the academics. That's what we do, from the formation of curriculum and taking classes, visiting industries, etc., so that the students are made ready for the market, and the responsibility is given to the teachers. They try to find out the requirement of the industries and give them enough knowledge for the students. And of course, we have an advantage. Our students, the old students who are all working in industries, they come and tell us what are the requirements of the industry. And we also try to inculcate those things into the student so that they become ready for employment. Last year, we had 940 companies, both national and international, came for recruitment, and we were almost able to place all of them. In fact, students, they get in more than one company, 2 or 3 companies also. Instead of a company choosing the student, now the student chooses the company. He or she can choose any one of them, and we are able to place all of them.
Good evening, sir. My question is, India is lagging behind Western countries in gross ratio, enrollment ratio. What should we do to improve the situation?
See, the enrollment, gross enrollment ratio is 27%. If it has to go up, the more and more students from school have to go for higher education, because from the age of 18 to 23 is called eligible for higher education. out of 14 lakh children, according to 2011 census, we have 14 crore children in that age group, and only about 4 crores of them are getting higher education now. In order to do this, all the governments, state governments, as well as state government, central government put together, they have to spend money. Now, education is in the concurrent list of the Constitution of India. Originally, it was in the state list. In 1976, this was transferred. Constitution was amended and transferred to the common list. Now, both the center and the state are responsible, and both of them have to sit together and see that everybody gets higher education. At least we must be able to compete with the developed nations. Only then economically we can come up. Otherwise, we can never come up economically. One is, we will not be able, the families will not be able to come up. The other one is, even if the country grows, there will be so much inequality if there is no higher education. That's what is happening in our country now. Other one is, our democracy will suffer. A real good democracy, full democracy, must have citizens with education. Otherwise, it will not be a full democracy. It will be a flawed democracy, some kind of democracy with a discrepancy. These are all things where we have to take care of higher education of all the poor and the middle class.